Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. If that's what it's going to take to get out the CK at the end of my name, that's what I'm going to do. So it's now Gary Vaynerchuk. See what you did? You made me change my name. C-H-U-K. Sometimes you just get together with a bunch of friends and you pop 4 or 5 bottles. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do today with you. I've got a bunch of friends on the other side of this, and I've got 4 bottles, different reasons for trying them. I want to try all of them. I brought out the big glass. I'm in a good mood. I mean, we ripped off the Bears. The weather is still nice and cold. I love that. Playing basketball tonight. I'm going to drop at least 35. I can feel it. I've got a big game in me. Other than that, you know, just tons and tons of great emails. Things are going great. Let's do a little house cleaning on WLTV. Number 1. Yes, we do have birds. I guess a lot of people have not watched episode 100. So please, watch episode 100, and I will explain the chirping, which I get emailed about 17 times a day. What else? Some sad news in the wine industry. Ernest Gallo passed away after 97 years old. Had a great run. I'll take 97 right now. Is anybody willing to sign that contract with me? Great guy. Took a very small investment and turned it into the biggest wine company in the world. How do you not respect that? Some issues with his family, which is always not a good idea. So always keep family ahead of dollars, folks, please. But with that all being said, a wonderful guy, an epic, a mountain of a man in the wine industry, passed on yesterday, and we want to send our condolences to the Gallo family. Gravitars, miraculously, are starting to work. So I've seen that occurrence. I've seen people mention it, and I'm really excited about that. So if you've got one and you want to update one, I think maybe now, if any time, I know I'm a little worried to say this, would be a good time to do it. I think this may be the time to check it out and do that, and so please do that. Without further ado, you know, I want to stay real focused. I'm a focused kind of guy, and we're going to do what we do here best. I'm going to taste 4 wonderful different wines, 2 reds, 2 whites. No, I'm not a Texas Longhorn fan. Let's go. Mulderbosch, 2005, South African Chenin Blanc, 90 points Wine Spectator, $11 US. Great rating to price ratio, and $11, you know, it's a real good price for a Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc is really one of my favorite grapes in the world. Really nice color, very decent color. You know, Chenin Blanc is one of the most versatile grapes in the world. It should be respected, and I respect it. It does a great job in the Loire Valley, especially, and from South Africa, we've seen some great efforts. So I brought out the big glass just to have some fun, and let's give it a little bit of a whirl. Getting a little lemon peel, which is a little bit unusual for Chenin Blanc, actually. Getting the classic smell that I get all the time. And I tasted a Vouvray a little while ago before the show today, and Tom and I, the Italian buyer, were talking about this. He also actually buys for Loire Valley. You get a very common, and this one has it as well, this is my big thing, you get a ginger ale kind of smell out of Chenin Blanc. So if you're a big fan of Canada Dry, jump on board this train. You don't want to miss it, because this has a ton of ginger ale in the nose. And 7-Up, I get those two kind of, you know, which is kind of close to ginger ale. I get that kind of aromatic all the time from Chenin. Great honeycomb flavor coming through. Great charred oak flavor on the mid-palate to the finish, which kind of hurts the Chenin Blanc. I feel like it's getting a little New Worldized here in South Africa. I think there's better ways to make Chenin without some of that, you know, oakiness that's coming through. But it's very crisp and clean otherwise for a little shot of oak, just a little tad. I'm not going to get too upset about it. I'm not even going to bring out the on it. But I'm getting a little bit of lemongrass flavor coming through in this wine. Dips of little honeycomb again on the flavor profile. Once again, a ginger aspect that's quite nice. Great acidity. If you like acidity, you're going to love this wine because it's going to cut through any kind of food. You know, if you're a vegetarian or you like, because with vegetables this is just great. How about steamed mussels? If you like that combo. This is a beautiful wine for $11. A nice effort. A little disjointed at times on the finish. And the little introduction of oak, I think, is a huge mistake. I think it made this wine become half pregnant. You know, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be a Chardonnay or Chenin Blanc. That bothers me. Other than that, I think it's an exceptionally strong bottle of wine. I'm going to score this wine 89 points. This is a nice effort. I agree with Spectator for giving this a nice run. This is a nice bottle of wine. You know, I'm going to go 89 minus. No, let's go 88 plus. I don't feel good about that 89. Just didn't feel right. Let's go 88 points in this wine. It's a nice, solid bottle, and for $11, I would say it's an absolute buy. Let's move on. And don't forget, I like to drink my whites, and some of you that have just jumped on board on Wine Library TV, I like to drink whites at room temperature because I really feel that you can find the flaws and the flavors that way. The cold is not masking them. This is the kind of wine with being cold in your fridge, like 99% of the people that probably will drink this wine, I think maybe some of that oakiness subsides in the cold and could become a little bit crisper and a little bit cleaner for some people. So, just to keep in mind. Coupe, Bien Nacido, Cuvée Blanc from Santa Maria Valley, 50% Chardonnay, 50% Viognier. Very, very interesting wine from Santa Barbara, which is very hot. $15 US and 90 points, Robert Parker, which is a screaming endorsement from Parker and in this price range. And, you know, when Bob talks about that, you want to listen, you want to pay attention. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a whirl. And again, nice light color, nothing too crazy. I would have actually expected, given that it's Viognier and Chardonnay, it's pretty golden, but it could have been even darker. Nice blend. Really interesting to see what Chard and Viognier are going to do now. The C and the V are going to connect. And are we going to like it? We're about to find out. Man, Viognier absolutely refuses to let anybody else on the stage of your nose. Meaning, Viognier and Chardonnay came out. It's like a third-grade play, right? And Viognier just elbowed Chardonnay right now, right to the face in the first scene, which is the nose. And, you know, Chardonnay fell and cried and got off the stage. But Viognier is still here, and it's tap dancing for you. Folks, Viognier is tap dancing for you on the nose here on this wine. This has a tremendously intriguing nose. Once again, a little bit of charred oak coming through on the nose. I'm sure Chardonnay had a little part of that. It's almost like the bloodstains on Viogner's little dress. So that's its little part. That being said, it's coming through with a lot of very intriguing mango and tropical flavors. I'm getting a good chunk of pineapple. I'm also getting a wild little thing of, it's almost like green English peas kind of coming through on the nose a little bit, which is really intriguing and interesting. And a very thickness. I don't want to call it honey, but like a thick syrup, almost like taking a bunch of, you know, white grapes and reducing it to a syrup and jam form. It's giving me a little bit of that. It's quite nice. It's very sugary. It's like a candy shop. It's like going to Dylan's candy shop, walking in Midtown and in the city and just getting that first sense of smell, which is a mixture of all these different candies. Great nose. This is an ambitious little wine. Wow, this wine's rocking. I really like this wine. It has a tremendous balance of acidity, New World oak, which a lot of people like. You know what? This almost reminds me of how I wish a lot of California Chardonnays would be. Toned down in the oak, has the great aromatic, the honeysuckle. I mean, just like honeysuckle for days. Boysenberry flavors coming through as well. Kiwi, lime, and then a great extraction on the finish. Tremendous segue, like from the second scene to the third scene. Let's stick with me on this school play thing. Of acidity to the long, rich, and completely palate-coating finish. This wine is rocking. I'm going to have to score it 92 points, and this is 15 bones, so this wine has completely stunned me. There is a lot of quality in this wine. This reminds me of some of the Superior. It's a little too oaky to say that, but imagine if there was a little bit more oak in the Rhone Valley on the Hermitage Blancs and some of the Blancs of the Marsanne and the Roussins and the Viogniers out there. It almost reminds me of a very New World version, but not too New World to get anybody upset, of a white Rhone blend that would run you $60, $70. 92 plus. I don't want to be embarrassed. I'm standing behind this. This is a rocking bottle of wine. Oh, this is good. This is a good wine. That's really weird. That's that preconceived stuff that I always talk about, that I hate that I do too, and maybe we're going to have to go to all blind format, because, wow, I did not expect that. God, and the good. All right, let me get over it. Get over it. All right. Mas de Maya 2004 Red Blend from Paso Robles, one of my favorite places in all of California. 65% Tempranillo. That's right, the Spanish grape. 30% Grenache, 5% Mourvedre. They're making a very classic Spanish red blend in Paso Robles, and people have been paying attention. When I say people, I mean the most influential and powerful wine critic in the world, Robert Parker, because he has found this wine to be of superb quality, scoring it 91 points, Robert Parker, for $24 US, which is a very, very high score for a California Spanish blend from the Paso Robles area of California. So I'm dying to try this wine. Lots of internet buzz, tons of chat boards, 14.9% alcohol, so it's not kidding around. This is the bully around the block. I mean, this one is not scared. Now, like a bully, are we going to just kind of punch it back and it's going to fall apart? Or are we going to be intimidated and enjoying this wine? What I'm really excited, again, let me break it down for you one more time. 65% Tempranillo, 30% Grenache, 5% Mourvedre, and I'm dying to try this. Once again, not kidding on the color. Getting a very lively combination of sour cherry, black pepper, white pepper, tad of cinnamon. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that. Tad of cinnamon, and a little bit, and not a little bit, actually, the tail end on the bouquet is like predominant real licorice, from especially the stuff you get in Europe, France. You know what I'm talking about. If you've ever had real licorice, give me a little shout out in the comments section. I'm talking the real stuff. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Nice nose. Very, very concentrated. This is like Barry Bonds on steroids. And I mean the confirmed on steroids Barry Bonds on additional steroids. This wine is redonkulously over the top. Its mouthfeel and structure is actually more of a New World dessert wine than anything else. I mean, Old World fans, and I know they chase you out of the room all the time, I'm going to have to start chasing New World fans out of the room. I apologize. I just realized I do it too much. Old World fans would hate this wine. I mean, 70s. And I might even think that some New World fans would be a little bit disappointed with this wine. There is no way that you could pay me in a blind tasting to tell you this is a predominantly Tempranillo-based wine. This wine tastes like an over-extracted fruit bomb Syrah from Barossa Valley. It is fun. It is more than one-dimensional. And I mean, it's a straight arrow of dimension. Yes, that dimension is fun, like we talk about. It's a little sugar-fied. It tastes fake as half of Hollywood. And I've got a real issue with this wine. I'm really not feeling it. And it's just way too overdone. It's way too over-extracted. There's a fine balance with New World fruit that you can do this with and you can't do this with. This, to me, is not the right way to do it. Almost like even the cocoa powder that this wine tastes like, tastes a little kind of all over the place. I'm going to score this wine 84 points. I'm not impressed with this effort. I'm going to pass. And I'm going to give it 84 points because the wine's just fake to me. I mean, it just does not taste real. Or like real fakeness. All right. This is really interesting. This is probably one of the most intriguing wines I've ever had on the show. This is a lot of fun. This is the Clarendon Hills 1998 Brookman Merlot. Brookman Vineyards. Now, what's really intriguing about this wine is, number one, it's an older wine, and we don't always have a chance to do older wines. We can give a big rinse. Number two, it's a Merlot from Australia, which is interesting. Number three, it is a wine that is retailing for $20 US in our shop, and in the 30s, I think, in maybe one or two other shops, maybe just one in the entire rest of the country. But more importantly, This wine has sold for 70 US dollars for a long time and is still found between 58 and 65 and $70 a bottle. So we interestingly got an opportunity, and I'm dying to see how this wine's evolving. 20 US dollars, 88 points Parker, from a vintage that is so heralded, the 1998 vintage in Australia. Let's give it a whirl. It didn't take long. New World fans, we're going to need you to leave. I mean, this has got a funky, and I mean funky nose. Pickle juice, like we saw in the Shiraz yesterday, but, you know, lots of broccoli and cabbage. Give me some Brussels sprouts. I'm getting a heavy dose of dill, like fresh, great dill, grounded. I'm even getting hints of, you know, of a brand new garlic, like just great garlic that you just eat. Lately, I've been eating garlic raw, which Lizzie didn't like so much, but it's good for my cholesterol thing. But Kahuna, you can't beat me. It's really vegetal. It reminds me of some of the Chinons, and so it's unusual. So this is what happens to wines as they evolve. This is a much older wine. You know, it's about 7 or 8 vintages behind that we have currently in the marketplace, mainly 2005s right now. So about 7 vintages behind, and a very funky nose. Now these wines have been open for about 2.5 hours. This is really intriguing. Let's give it a whirl. Right there, at this point right here, I wanted to stop and tell you, oh my God, I nailed it. It actually had one of the most remarkable, powerful flavors of Campbell's tomato soup that you'd ever see. I mean, just like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So, besides the vegetal aspect, tomatoes are fruit, so I can get away with it. Anyway, right there, it's hitting me with a very heavy tomato flavor. The flavor profile on the palate is very mixed. It's very heavy on the sweaty leather socks. And you've never worn leather socks? Come on. So, you know, sweaty socks and leather, very gamey. Venison, deer, open road, cherries, remember that? Old school fans. That has that kind of thing going on. But this deer is almost like, it's an old deer, you know, this is like Bambi's great-grandfather. He was like sneaking through the woods. He never got shot. This is like an old deer coming through with a ton of venison and very intriguing, dirty, you know, like stuff the deer with dirty socks. Little jalapeno pepper coming through on the flavor profile. But a very under the radar, like boop, 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 boop. No, we can't find it. Invasion of blueberries on the finish, which I really like. Think of an army of blueberries attacking you, and you had no idea they were coming because they were under the radar, remember? That's what's happening on the finish. Taking some of those sour and different kind of flavors, because I know some of you don't like them, and bringing a really complete and intriguing little wine. Yeah, I could probably peg this as a Merlot, because you know what? I would have really thought that this is a really nice Merlot from Saint-Emilion, probably Saint-Emilion, and maybe even, yeah, Saint-Emilion. And it's really, really interesting to me how this New World area is producing such an old world type of wine right now. And the best part was, I had an opportunity to look back at my notes from many years ago when I tasted this wine and called it a hedonistic fruit bomb. So boy oh boy, what wine can do in a cellar is very interesting and intriguing, especially when it's a New World wine. So all you New World bashers who say these wines are going to fall apart and this wine's going nowhere, and I know you say it all about the Turleys and the Harlans and the Bryants and the Colgins and all the Australian wines and a lot of the Spanish fruit bombs, you're going to be surprised, I think, as you start opening up some of these wines, because they're taking a different level. And this Merlot is taking a very different level. It's marching to a Bordeaux beat of drum, and I'm really, really feeling it. Now, I'm going to give this wine 1 score, but I want to be, that's what's so great about film. It's not just a score. I can back it up. I'm going to score this wine 90+. I really like this wine. As a matter of fact, This was like drinking a 1986 Saint-Emilion, and if I could buy an 86 Saint-Emilion that's really solid and a 90-point wine in my book for 20 bones, I'm running out punching people and grabbing every bottle I can get. So I'm feeling this wine, but it is so different and so earthy, so driven towards, you know, an old world Saint-Emilion earthiness that I feel a lot of people would not get it and have a difficult issue with it. Drinking by itself, most people. This is a food wine. So for those New World people, that like the people that love the pillar box, and a lot of you have liked that, people that like those kind of wines, this is the kind of wine that just, I don't want to say it's over your head, because it's not. I hate when people say that. It's not over your head. It's just a very different profile, and you need to beware. I mean, can we get a sticker that I can be like, or like a badge? Beware badge on this wine. This is a 90-plus pointer to a guy like me that can really enjoy this style, but definitely probably an 83 or 84 pointer to somebody that's seduced by the fruits of this world. God, I did a lot about that, didn't I? That was fun. I was in the zone. I was interested. Question of the day. Because I don't have anything else to talk about. Yes, I do. I need a link. Guys, you can vote again. I know, I'm a jerk-off, but I want to win this thing. I hate losing. I know it's for the best-looking thing. I don't even care about that. I just want to win. And so if I can win, please help me do that. So, quick little link over here. I think you can vote every day. I don't want to lose to those guys. Question of the day. How can we make this show better for you? I'm serious. But anybody who wants to say you're great, Gary, and doesn't need any changes, I won't complain. You know why? Because you, with a little bit of me, do corks float? Somebody was asking. Somebody asked. There you go. They do. And because you and a little bit of me, right? And a little bit of me, we're definitely changing the wine world.